Well, hey, good evening. Welcome back to my little gardening show. I just wanted to give you a real quick update on the backyard garden here, just where it's at. September 12th, 2014. If you guys noticed, but I got my back door painted. I know that has nothing to do with gardening, but hey, it's been in a lot of my videos, so I thought I'd just show you that. I just need to paint the threshold. But anyway, I've got some, these are Boston pickling cucumbers. These are just maybe slightly large. But these are the vines. And I'm probably going to do this next year. I planted these in late July. And it ended up being just perfect weather for them. And they've really taken off. You know, now we're in the cooler temps, so still plenty of action, just tons of flowers all over this thing. And the other thing that's kind of nice about planting them late like I did is we avoided the squash bugs. They tend to come out in June here at the garden in my backyard. So by planting them in late July, we kind of avoided that pest. At least I've not really seen any of them around yet. And there's a good chance the frost is going to get these vines before squash bugs get them. I got my Tigger melons. Now these I'll probably plant in June next year because I don't think there's going to be enough time for them to set fruit. They're more of a warmer weather crop, whereas the cucumbers, they grow pretty quick. And so I mean, I've already picked probably 10 altogether between the 12 plants that I have, and there's another one hiding. You see that? The other thing with the cooler weather is I've noticed that the main pollinators I've seen have been bumblebees. And just doing a little reading up on them. They tend to fly and pollinate even in the cooler temperatures. Even when it's wet and damp, you'll still see them out. But just look at this. I mean, they're just buds all over this thing. The rest of the garden, we've got a bed here of Swiss chard that I need to space. And hopefully we'll have something to pick before the frost. I've got my pepper beds, and they've set pretty much their last round of fruit or vegetables here, the bell peppers. So probably this weekend, maybe next week, once they get a little bit more size to them, I'll go ahead and pick them. We get our killing frost around the second week of October, so I've got maybe a month tops left. Here's my tomatoes, and I have to confess they've been somewhat neglected here the last month. You know, after we got our main crop off of them probably early August, because I got these in the ground pretty early this year. Probably 2 weeks earlier than I normally do. Anyhow, I've not really paid a lot of attention to them since then. You know, I pruned them a little bit, but as you can see, the twine that I used was not strong enough to last the whole season. And so about 2 weeks ago, the majority of my vines came down, you know, and I tried stringing up a couple of them that still had some decent tomatoes going, but most of them I just left, and I just haven't had time to clean this bed out yet. But what I'm probably going to do is clean this all out and then try to plant some buckwheat in the rows where I had the tomatoes, just as kind of a little early fall cover crop. And then I'll pull that out before they set seeds. You know, after they flower, before the flowers close in, I'll pull it all out and just work it into the ground, or just leave it on top. My cherry tomatoes have done just awesome. I mean, I've gotten tons and tons off the plants here. And you know, I stopped tying them to my posts here pretty much near the top, and so as a result they just kind of went so high and then kind of fell over, and now they're starting to grow down, and they're still setting flowers, buds and stuff. But this is probably the last round on them too. These will probably ripen up before too long here. Here's some nice Chadwick cherries. It's been a nice variety. I've saved seeds from them. This is the 3rd year in a row. You know, I haven't bought any seeds. I've just saved seeds and then replanted every year. There's another variety. Last year is called Rissentraub. I got it as a, yeah, it was last year. I got it as a free seed from Baker Creek, and they really came on strong towards the end, around September, and I just let them kind of grow along the ground. The vines just creeped along the ground. I didn't even string them up or anything. The super sauce, overall it was a good tomato, a good sauce tomato. I'll probably grow them again next year. Again, the first round was just huge. This is probably the 3rd picking, or would be the 3rd picking off this. The 2nd and 3rd were more about this size. 2nd maybe a little larger, but now they're just like giant Romas. But again, part of that's because I've just kind of not really paid attention to them. I haven't really fertilized them at all or anything like that since the main crop. Well, you know how it is. You just kind of get busy and things get neglected a little bit, you know, as you're trying to keep up with everything and process, you know, the main bulk of stuff that's coming in. So anyway, that's my excuse. I got some butter crunch lettuce here that's coming up. Looking pretty nice, getting close to picking. Not all of the seed came up. The seed I used was a couple years old, so I need to replant. Got some beets that I need to thin out, maybe space. And then I got my hot pepper bed. It's just, anything about hot peppers, you don't need very many plants to get a decent harvest. You know, I've got a whole bowl full of these various kinds, and I'm just letting them dry out, and then I'm gonna grind them up for seasoning. And then last but not least, I've got my lacinato or Tuscan or dinosaur kale. It goes by a lot of different names. It's even referred to as Nero D. Toscano, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Black Palm. But it's been a really nice variety to grow. The foliage it's real smooth, uniform. It's got a good taste. It doesn't have that bitterness that some of the other kales have. And it's been relatively pest-free. The only pest really I've seen munching on it here and there has been grasshoppers. But other than that, it's been pretty good. And I've got, what, 4 plants here, and then there were onions in here. I've already pulled them, and that didn't do that well. I need to do something different next year on the onions as far as the bed prep. I don't think the ground was loose enough. And along with the Tuscan kale or lacinato kale is my Georgia collards. And I don't know, it's getting dark. It's hard to see everything, but I mean, they've just exploded here in this raised bed. I'd pretty much written this bed off because there wasn't a lot of sunlight getting through here with the trees, but I trimmed some of the branches back, and these greens really took off. So I'll probably do greens again in that bed, not lettuce, but more greens like this, you know, unless I can get this tree trimmed, you know, thinned out a little bit more, then I'll try lettuce again. But I've been using it in smoothies and stuff like that. It's worked out pretty good. So anyway, here we are again. That's pretty much the state of the garden, at least the backyard garden. The other garden that's about a mile away at a friend's house is pretty much in the same shape. The tomatoes, we've already picked the majority of them. Most of the ones that are out there now are green and probably aren't going to be ripe by the time we get our killing frost. So I'll probably pick those and make Fred green tomatoes, give a bunch of those away. And then we'll be, you know, come full circle and doing a lot of the fall prep as far as the beds are concerned, and just kind of spending some time building the soil and getting things lined up for next year. So I don't know, it's kind of a sad time in a way, you know, because it's kind of like you're saying goodbye to everything, you know, but it's all part of the process. And you know, next year will be even better. You know, we're learning more every year. The ground, the soil is getting better every year as we're sheet composting and just building it. And so I don't know, it'd be interesting to see how next year goes. So anyway, I know this video is a little bit longer than the ones I normally make, but just thought I'd spend some time sharing some thoughts out here in the backyard. So I guess that's it. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.